Okay, so in today's second video, I got a couple things I want to talk about. The first report is titled, Ottawa announces new $900 million defense innovation for Canada. And this is to help boost our Canadian drone and aerospace technologies industries. But the best part about it is that most of it is going to be kept in Canada. I think actually maybe all of it. So Canadian jobs, Canadian procurement, and Canadian products. So I'll get into this more later in this video. I also have another report, and this time it's talking about the Ambassador Bridge, again. But this time we're not going to talk about the billionaire owner of the bridge who tried to bribe the Republicans to basically shut down the Gordie Howe Bridge. That way he can still continue making his money. But in this report, the Windsor mayor is putting his foot down, and he's proposing a new toll on the Ambassador Bridge. So we'll talk about this in today's video. And the last thing I want to talk about in this video at the end is this. It's Ivar's clam chowder. Back when my wife and I used to do weekend trips to Seattle, going to Ivar's for a bowl of clam chowder used to always be a thing for us. Even though we're not going to the US anymore, I always held a soft spot for it, thinking that maybe one day, maybe even if it was like a decade from now, I would go back and have another bowl. But after talking to one of our community members, who is also one of my moderators, I found out something that kind of heartbroke me. So I'll explain that later on in the video. And you're going to want to stick around for that because I'm going to rant pretty hard on this one. The backdrop for this video is another one from YUL Spotter. He's my go-to guy when it comes to anything aviation. And he took this photo of a C-45 Expediter at the Aero Gatineau Air Show. I have quite a few photos from YUL Spotter. He sent me a whole bunch, so I'm looking forward to featuring them for the rest of the community. Thanks again for sending these over. Now before we start, someone posted this in the Guard the Leaf subreddit, and I actually wanted to show it to everybody, because it gives a reality on who's behind some of these accounts that are so anti-Canada. Let's take a look.
Alberta Liberty, based in the United States. Alberta Prosperity Project, based in Thailand. Alberta State, based in Hong Kong. Alberta Liberty, based in United States. Salty Little Cowgirl, Liberalism is a Disease, Alberta Independence, based in the United States. Name one country that we are actually doing new business with under Carney. Now name all the businesses that have left Canada under Carney. Alberta separation can't happen fast, based in Kenya. Republic of Alberta, strong and free, based in the United States. Oh, and what's this weird movie he wants you to watch? Showcasing and exposing the fraud that has been committed on the people of the landmass known as Canada, based in the United States. I'm in Alberta and will be proud when we have independence, Alberta separation, Alberta independence, what Ottawa has done to Alberta. And I think you know where this is going. Based in the United States. This guy seems to agree that Elon Musk needs to do something about all of these foreign-based accounts that are agitating for politics in other countries. And he also wants Alberta separation. Thankfully, he's a real person based in the United States. Go watch my deep dive on this topic. You know where to click.
Now, I wanted to show this to everybody because there's been so many negative comments, even in my videos, of people saying that Alberta's going to separate, blah, 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 Canada's crap, whatever. But that guy, Elon, who now owns Twitter, enabled a function on everyone's account on Twitter that basically states where they're from. And all of those accounts that were pro, separation, Alberta separation, and, whatever else, you saw with your own eyes that a lot of them are based in the United States or overseas. So you might be asking yourself, why are these people actually doing it? Well, maybe the ones in the United States, they really want to disrupt what's going on in Canada. But on the other side, there's probably people out there in the world, maybe the ones that were in Hong Kong or Thailand, as he mentioned, who are only there for the clicks. And when I talk about clicks, it's engagement on Twitter. And how Twitter works is when an account is monetized, the more engagement it has, the more money they get. So those people in Hong Kong or Thailand or wherever else in the world that is, faking an account from Canada, they probably have no idea what's going on in Canada. And just like a copycat issue that I had in my early days, if you've been following my channel, you probably remember that stage. This guy basically copied my entire channel, everything from the look and feel, thumbnails to the topics, and even trying to replicate my voice. But this guy here, he was based in Pakistan, faking that he was a Canadian. Why would he do this? Because this is a hot topic that we're talking about. And going back to this guy's video, the Alberta separation topic, even though we don't like it, is a topic that is going to get a lot of engagement. So there's two things I want to say from this. One, don't believe everything you say out there. Because some of these accounts, this one here, Alberta Liberty, looks pretty damn authentic, but it's based in the United States. Because a lot of these negative posts could be from people who are not even in Canada, and just here to stir the pot and make money. This also applies to a lot of the AI channels that many of you are still sending me. I know some of them are getting hard to tell whether it's real or whether it's an AI voice. But when it comes to an AI generated video, I automatically ignore it. And to be honest, I would advise everyone else to as well. Because the details cannot be verified. You can create a prompt that would have some fictitious data, and it would be announced to the audience or the people watching the video, and it's going to be incorrect information. So my best advice, if it's an AI channel, just click off of it. I could go on for hours on this topic. Maybe I'll save it for my next live stream. All right, let's get into the first report.
CTV senior political correspondent Mike LeCouture tackles the billion-dollar pledge and the promise of jobs to come. Hey, Mike.
Well, Sandy, this is a significant announcement, and it's all part of Canada's plan to meet its NATO commitment to spend 2% of GDP on national defense this year.
Okay, I just got to pause here for a second because I find something very ironic. The orange guy has been complaining about countries not spending their fair share when it comes to NATO. And he expects other countries like Canada to, put up their share. Well, we're making the change, and we are bolstering our defenses. But it's kind of ironic that we are doing it because of the United States.
It's a $900 million announcement for defense innovation in Canada. The partnership with the National Research Council will help grow domestic drone and aerospace technologies.
This will allow us to develop new platforms for drone and aerospace technologies, including having a new drone innovation center, a drone innovation hub here in Ottawa at the NRC.
The federal government is also buying a new $500 million Bombardier plane. It's the same aircraft already being used by Saab and a Korean company for defense surveillance.
Now, I'm glad the Canadian government is starting to move on this. Would I like to go faster? Of course. But I understand there's a lot of moving pieces when it comes to this. But at least we're going in the right direction. I can't imagine what would happen if the Canadian election went the other way. I mean, we'd probably be the 51st state by now.
They're going to intentionally make their purchases in this country by design, by policy objective. And that's a huge reorientation of the way the government of Canada has worked.
It's a welcome change for the Quebec-based aerospace company, pointing out that particular model is truly Canadian-made.
Our aircraft, there's a lot of Canadian content. We have on the 6500 over 65 suppliers in the country.
It's estimated close to 1,000 jobs are being supported by the purchase of the new Bombardier jet and 6 others ordered in December. The federal government's defense industrial strategy unveiled last month is promising to prioritize homegrown production and research as a way of keeping investment dollars and employment in this country. While it's unclear how many jobs could be created from the drone hub, there is a sense that it could spur hiring in related industries.
Working with the SMEs, that we are going to be helping them so that they can grow and their production, so that they can provide to defense in Canada, but also defense to our allies.
Defense industry analysts say the government's defense industrial strategy is off to a good start. But some say if the Liberals want to deliver on their promise, they'll have to make a lot more of these announcements a lot more often.
Now, I agree that we need to hear more of these announcements. But I also understand that it can't be done overnight. I mean, Rome wasn't built in a day. But I think we still have to consider the fact how radical our next door neighbor is. And on the factor of the orange guy being unpredictable, I think we need to speed this up a little bit. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you agree with me and this is the first time you're watching my video, make sure you hit the like and subscribe button below so you're notified of my future videos. Now I want to move on to the topic of the Ambassador Bridge, where the Windsor mayor has basically said, okay, if you don't open the Gordie Howe Bridge, we're going to toll the Ambassador one. Let's take a look at this report.
Traveling on the Ambassador Bridge could be getting more expensive for some drivers. CBS News Detroit's Elle Myers spoke with the mayor of Windsor to get answers on a proposed toll.
All the traffic and especially heavy trucks traveling over the Ambassador Bridge really take their toll on the municipal roads on the Canadian side that connect it. That's according to Windsor's mayor, who tells me he's asking his government to implement a tax on trucks to pay for road maintenance.
The taxpayers in my city are bearing the full cost of maintenance for that bridge to get trucks to the Ambassador Bridge when they shouldn't have to do that.
Mayor Drew Dilkins announced on Thursday he's asking for approval from the provincial government to place a temporary toll on trucks using Huron Church Road. That's the road that connects the Ambassador Bridge on the Canadian side.
It's millions of dollars annually in ongoing repairs. I mean, the road is about 4 lanes, 3 to 4 lanes in each direction, depending where, what part of Huron Church Road you're at. And so it takes a beating because of the weight of the trucks.
Now I'm fully on board with this, mainly because I'm also pissed off at the billionaire. But if the Ambassador Bridge and its stupid owner wasn't in the spotlight and was not caught bribing the Republicans to get the Gordie Howe Bridge shut down, It's still a fact that the city of Windsor has been taking care of all the maintenance. For how long this has been happening, I don't know. I'm assuming probably a lot of years. But you know what? I would say toll it anyways. Because if I was a resident in Windsor and there was a toll there, I would take the Gordie Howe Bridge instead.
Describes the road as a kind of roller coaster caused by heavy trucks braking, and much like Michigan.
You're constantly having to do the repairs.
Now, Dilkin says it's too early to say exactly how much of a tax they'd put on trucks traveling over the bridge, but he tells me the ongoing threats of the Gordie Howe Bridge staying closed from President Trump means he feels Canada needs to keep their options open.
Windsor is the auto capital of Canada. Detroit is the motor city. We've built some great things together. We want to keep that ball rolling and make sure that we create good jobs in both countries for the benefit of both of our economies. And we hope that we never get to a point where tolling is required. But if the Gordie Howe Bridge isn't going to open as a result of a decision by President Trump, all options are on the table on our side.
Now, I reached out to Mayor Sheffield, the White House, and the owner of the Ambassador Bridge, but didn't hear back on Friday.
I think in this day and age, we have to have all options available, even options C, D, and E, and F. I mean, we can't trust the United States to stick to their word. Sure, the bridge might open later on, but under what condition? I think it's time for Canada to really start thinking for itself, even when it comes to a bridge. So let me know your thoughts on this report. And if you're from Windsor, let us know what you think about this as well. Now, this next one isn't really a report. It's just, you can see it in the column. It says GTL in total disgust. Because I am. And it all revolves around this cup of clam chowder. Now, if you're not from the West Coast, Ivar's is a seafood restaurant or a chain that is based in Seattle. And my wife and I, whenever we went to Seattle for a weekend or a day trip, we would always stop by here. It would be like a staple. I have to at least get one bowl of clam chowder. And there were times where we would do like weekend trips and not buy anything, but I would only buy clam chowder. And it's pretty funny when the CBSA guard asked, what did I buy? And I would say I bought 2 big tubs of clam chowder. And the CBSA guard would be like, seriously, that's it? You went all the way to Seattle for clam chowder? I said, well, not really. I mean, we did a tourist thing, whatever. And it just so happens I bought the clam chowder. I mean, they have other food there. I mean, we would have lunch there. Because this is not my photo. I just found it online. But it's a typical seafood restaurant. But after talking to one of our GTL members, someone who has been very helpful to the channel, we got into the discussion of the people that I usually feature on my channels. Like, not in a good way. But I want to show you who the CEO of Ivar's is. The restaurant that I used to love going to in the United States.
If you come from Canada with a Canadian driver's license or a passport, or you use that goofily delightful Canadian accent, we'll give you a 30% discount.
This is just heartbreaking to me. This clown I've been featuring in my channel for like the last half a year, and that many of you have also grown to hate, is the CEO of one of my favorite restaurants in the United States. I mean, I don't know how I missed this, because the freaking logo's right in the background. But the feeling that I have right now is a bit of a disgust, because I spent so much money at this stupid restaurant, only to find out that this guy is actually literally talking to me, because I used to be probably one of his best Canadian customers. I've always thought maybe when things settle down, a decade from now, I might be able to go back and have a bowl of clam chowder, if it was still open. But now, the hell with Ivar's and screw this guy. And I regret spending so much money at your restaurant. This goofily accented Canadian is never going to spend a dime at your restaurant ever again. Alright, I feel better getting that out. And that's all I got for today's video. If you found any value or agree with anything I said in this video, or you want to hear things from a Canadian or international perspective, without the US media bullshit, make sure you hit the like and subscribe button below. That way you're notified of my future videos. And if you do want to watch more of my videos, check out the ones that are going to show up on your screen in a bit. Thanks everyone, I'll catch you in the next one.